Are we having a party here? I don't know.
Welcome to Polishing Profits. Join our three industry experts boasting 140 years of experience as they unlock building service contracting secrets that can revolutionize your business. Hi, this is Mark Anderson with Ed Selkow and Sharon Cowan, and welcome to the party at Polishing Profits. And today our episode is going to tackle keeping employees through high-level engagement. And your first question is, what in the world is high-level engagement? Well, we're going to define that for you. And Ed, I think it's only fair that we take age before beauty and let you start.
Just to clarify, does this have anything to do with ladders? So,
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Go ahead and go for it, okay? Maybe scaffolding. I'm not sure. Snorkel lift, pick something.
well, listen, you can tell when you've got engagement, when you got people that'll move dead bodies for you. That's engagement. So,
Coming from New York, I'm afraid to ask how you know that. So
you don't
we'll
want to
move
know.
along. I don't want to know.
You don't want to know. But, the whole thing is to draw them closer to the management team, and there's generally a point person in the management team. And so that key person will hold on to people just because of the familiarity, okay, and their comfort that they're in a good place with people that care about them. That's really one of the major things that we've got. And I think Sharon has pointed this out on numerous occasions. Look, these are folks that don't get a lot of strokes.
Right.
So strokes go an awful long way.
Sometimes these are the only strokes they get.
Yep.
Is at work.
Yep. That's very astute. Yeah. No, that's it.
It could be that it's their safe haven, for their life. And you just don't know what you don't know about people and what they come from, their environment, and what they need. One of the things that I did as a business owner, and I do recommend to my clients now, is that you form a buddy system for a new hire. And this would be a hand-picked group of people, 2, 3, 4, depending on your staff size, that could serve as a buddy like a trainer would. And trainers aren't always the best buddies, but someone that's very personable, very empathetic, and that this new hire can have, so they don't come into the office and they don't know anybody. They don't come in day after day till they meet people and they're comfortable in their surroundings. They have a buddy that they can meet in the office at night, or they can meet out on the jobs, someone that they can confide in and say, this trainer's driving me nuts because she doesn't listen to what I say. I don't understand, whatever it might be. But having a buddy system in your company sometimes can really help a lot with that engagement.
That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that buddy system.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I think a high level engagement starts when they are at the office being interviewed. If you've got talent acquisition or HR person, it really starts there, and how the company talks to people, explains what the job is about, does the interview. When, if it moves from HR then to the supervisor, the area manager, again, engaging people, letting them know what we do, why we do, how we do it. How does it add value to our lives, a company's life, as well as the customers? And then from, the onboarding in the office, right? Okay, they meet their trainer. And trainers aren't always your buddies. That's true. Trainers have a job to do, get you trained and move on to the next person they're going to train. But it's all in how they're received and perceived by everybody they come in contact with. And we've talked about culture, but that gets back to the culture. And we always felt that the employee was as important, if not more important, than the actual customer paying the bill. Because we're only as good as when they shut that light out. I say that all the time, but tomorrow's day is going to depend on what that building looks like when that light comes back on in the morning. And I think it's a philosophy, but to both of your points earlier, A lot of the routine people don't get a lot of strokes. They don't have a lot going on. They're working at these jobs for a certain reason. And we can provide that. And if we do, that type of engagement and interest creates a long way, whole nother subject, to keeping and raising your retention numbers. I mean, it's just high level means just that. It's a beginning to an end. It's a cradle to grave approach. You identify the people that want a career. You do all you can to bring them up through the company. You show them a career path. All of these things speak to people and their value. So that's when you say high level to me, again, it's a cradle to grave sort of an approach. Not everybody wants to be a foreman, a supervisor, but finding those who do and bringing them up through your company is
Well,
really important.
every position in the company has to feel it matters and it makes a difference. And that employee matters to the success and well-being of the company. And they have a purpose. They really have a purpose. And again, going back to what we said earlier, for some folks, this is the only purpose. Their lives can be very dysfunctional. And we've seen that over and over in our industry, in any service industry. You have folks that perhaps have not had the easiest way to go in their lives. And they just really need all the attaboys, pats on the back, and a feeling that they have a place and that they matter.
Well, yeah, and taking that same idea, that can even go beyond the responsibility at work. Okay. An awful lot of good vibes were collected when we would show some interest in personal things that are going on. There's a kid in the hospital. I'll never forget what a regional manager had a kid in the hospital. I went and she would kill for me for walking into the hospital and handing her kid a $3 whatever it was, a little $3 thing, you know. And it was me and my brother when all of this was coming together, and it was kind of like a unspoken solemn vow that nobody's ever going to go hungry that works for us, period, ever, under any circumstances. Okay, we want to know what's going on, and if there's something dreadful going on, we want to know, and we want to know where we can help. Now, I know that there's people that whose heads would explode, but the bosses that I loved were the people that took an interest in all of me. I tell a story about, one of my great experiences in this industry was working for a company out of Washington D.C. And when my kid was sick, the guy got on an airplane, told me to get a babysitter, and took me and my wife out for dinner only so when she went to the bathroom, he leaned over and said, "Look, anything you need from anywhere in the world, you got. All you got to do is ask." He paid the tab for dinner and then got on a plane and went back to D.C.
Wow.
I would walk through fire for that guy. I've had a couple of really great bosses in my time, and he was one of them. I've had others, but I mean, that was an indescribable feeling of support and care.
That's high level engagement. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And it has to, again, we talked about culture. The supervisor has to see the employees that way. The manager has to see the supervisor that way. The vice president or whoever, the general manager, that has to cascade right down that line.
Right.
And just off to Ed's point, I think, as a matter of fact, very few things ever brought me to tears. But we had a gentleman work with us. He eventually became a partner in another part of our business. And when it was all said and done, and he and his wife were retired and down in Arizona, he wrote me a note, and it basically said, almost used the name, "We are so thankful. You're the only person that believed in us when we didn't. And we were able to survive, stay alive. You provided health insurance for myself and my family, and you took an interest in me, and we're forever grateful." I actually sat there and cried over that email. And probably one of the nicest things in my entire time in business and memorable is that one thing. And all I was doing was what we were supposed to be doing. I mean, that's how we tried to take care of people. And I always say tried because we have plenty of failures along the way because
Yeah.
we're people. But I mean, and I've got several of those instances tucked away, and I've got employees that have them tucked away that got notes like that. So at a high level, it's what you want your company to be and to do. And we had, believe it or not, low turnover rates. We had better retention rates in the industry just because we did those things. And we always tried to pay more. There's just a number of things. But this isn't one thing you do. It isn't one compliment. It isn't paying your employees more. It isn't doing this one time. It's the experience they have with you, and they know how they are contributing to this company, because people want to make a difference. I honestly believe that. I don't care what you're doing, whether you're cleaning a toilet or you're running a Fortune 1 company. Everybody has that desire, but they've got to be recognized. And if recognition in every form and fashion isn't part of your company culture, then they're going to feel it and know it's missing. Just my own personal opinion.
Yeah, and I feel like you need the recognition to be private, as Ed's was, and yours, and it needs to be public as well. So a combination of the two. Whenever they can receive the attaboys in front of their peers, it's huge. I mean, it's huge. Something as simple, and this may not be classified as a high level recognition, but it certainly counts for people that are on the receiving end of something as simple as a certificate of appreciation for a job well done. We've had trouble with your building. Since you've taken over your building, we've been complaint free. And here's this great certificate that tells what a valued member you are to our company. And we thank you for all of your effort, whatever it might be recognition for. Even a little certificate. I had employees who couldn't wait to get home and show their family members their certificate in a frame. They never got anything like that in their lives before. And this is so meaningful to them. So something as simple as that, that's an easy thing to do on your printer.
Well,
Those are the...
Take it from somebody that's got a teaching background.
Yeah.
In a previous life, she taught school. That's perfect.
Yes.
But again, it's not one thing that's high level. And there's a lot of people that understand this. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of companies you can see that they'll have pictures of their employees for their 10th year award, or they did something great for the customers. Then they post these. Now, everybody may not see them, but the fact is, you'll see them if you're pawing through LinkedIn or scrolling through. They get it. That if you recognize people and you make them part of the team and they feel engaged and they're more than just, a pair of hands at the end of the mop or the vacuum, it goes a long way. And I look at these companies, and if they're publicizing this, they're obviously doing this. And you see it regularly. And again, there's all kinds of awards programs you can get, meeting ideas. There's a plethora of things out there that you can find to do this. But the one thing you can't find is the owner that makes it part of their culture and trains their entire team to do this. That means the owner has to be engaged with everybody they touch. It starts at the top.
And having a plan, coming up with a plan. What are the things that your company is going to do that will engage employees and that will speak to recognition and motivation and things that you can do? And if you don't, as an owner, have time to sit down and do that, delegate that to someone. But at least someone in your company take responsibility for what your strategy is for motivation and keeping employees engaged.
Yeah.
And it starts when they walk in the door to apply. That's when it begins. It has to begin in the beginning. You can't turn it into some sort of a program. It's got to be from inside, and it has to be like from day one.
Exactly.
Well, it gets back something that, and I still have some of my clients work on things like this, but there was a book that came out. I'm really going to date myself. I believe in the late 80s. Dr. Ken Blanchard, the 1 Minute Manager.
Sure.
The thing's an hour read. I had all the programs. We used his material because we're training a lot of people to be supervisors. The basic premise, 2 basic premises, and we've mentioned it here. You praise in public and you criticize in private, and you catch somebody doing something right and you reward them when you catch them. And we had systems for that as well. But we always get so tied up. When do we most often see people? When we're solving a problem. You have to see them outside. And I'm going right down to the regular daily cleaner, or we call them routine cleaners. They've got to be engaged with you other than here, fix this from my inspection, or here, fix this from the customer complaint. You got to catch them doing something right and stop them. How much does that cost you? That's a culture thing. To say, Ed, went in the president's office last night. Small thing. Every traffic pattern was perfect, just the way the president likes it, in the V shape or whatever. Thanks for doing that. That means more than a raise at times to people, just that you notice the small things they did. But again, it's culture from the beginning to end.
Well, one other tool that we used was when you own the company, you can make up any damn titles that you want. You're in charge. Okay? So it doesn't matter if somebody is doing the restrooms in a building. When they come in early, okay, they are the vice president of paperclips. We can make up our own titles, and titles mean a lot to people. You can have fun with it,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. I mean, in the corporate world, there's all kinds of vice presidents of every damn bit of nonsense you can think of. So
I was going to make a political comment there about the current banking situation.
No. Let's not go there, Mark.
No,
that's a rabbit hole that we will not climb out of.
And we're not going to find the Cheshire Cat, Alice, or the Mad Hatter.
No.
Well, so let's see. Why didn't somebody wrap us up and take us out here?
Ed, you want to wrap up?
Sharon, yeah. You're the prettiest one in the group, so why don't you do it?
Okay.
We made him open, so you're going to have to close.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
The Scrub Down, a recap of what was covered on today's episode.
We want you to understand and hear our message about the importance of employee engagement, about the importance of recognition, positive feedback, attaboys, catch them doing something right, all of those things that will help keep your employee engaged. Gone are the days of handing them a mop and a bucket and saying, go clean. If you're not engaging your employees, be prepared for higher level turnover, which is costly and nobody wants. But take the advice that we've tried to pass on to you today to get your employees as part of your culture and work on your culture. Have a plan, just like you have a plan for everything. Hopefully.
All right, everybody wave and we'll shut this thing off.
All right.
Bye, people.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye, people.